Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn a new poem, If I Were a Giant. This poem is written by Jackie Hosking. If I were a giant, I wonder if I could stand on my tiptoes and paint the sky. I would fashion paint brushes from branches of trees and paint all the clouds as they float on the breeze. I would wake up quite early when morning was new and paint all the daisies with pollen and dew. I would blend all the colors from deserts so dry and mix up a sunrise to splash on the sky. I would stride to the mountains and gather the snow to paint snow white blossoms where blossoms should grow. I would dip my tree brush in the yellow corn and I would paint golden beaches by waving my hand. I would grind autumn leaves, some pink ones, some red, and cover the cert as she set off to bed. I would hunt all the shadows that hide from the light and dip them in pen ink and blacken the night. I can dream I am a giant from the books of my shelf, but I know when I wake nature's painted herself. In this poem, a little child wonders in her dream, what if it were to be a giant? Whether she could stand on her toes and paint the sky with brushes made of tree branches? She wants to paint the clouds, the flowers, and dew by mixing the colors from the desert with that of the sunrise. She dreams of her giant stride to the snowy mountains to fetch snow for painting white and to the cornfields for getting yellow. She compares the sun to the sun getting ready for bed and wants to paint it for the occasion. She wants to make the night's shadow as black as she can with ink. In the end, she knows that when she comes out of her dream, it would be morning and nature would have painted everything the way she wanted it to be. Rhyming scheme of this poem is AABB. The purpose of this poem is to entertain and to build an appreciation for art and nature. This is an imaginary poem, a dream of the poet. Personification. Cover the sun as she set off to bed. The sun is described as a woman going to sleep, giving it human qualities and making nature feel alive and relatable. Hunt all the shadows that hide from the light. Shadows are portrayed as creatures that hide, adding mystery and playfulness to the scene. Nature's painted herself. Nature is imagined as an artist, suggesting that the beauty of the world is intentional and magical. Imagery. Paint all the daisies with pollen and dew. Evokes a fresh morning scene appealing to sight and touch. Alliteration. Paint snow white blossoms where blossoms should grow. Repetition of the S and B sounds add musical rhythm and softness. Hyperbole. Stand on my tiptoes and paint the sky. The poet exaggerates the giant's reach and imagination, emphasizing the limitless possibilities of dreams. Vocabulary. Pollen. The fertilizing element of flowering plants consisting of fine, powdery yellowish grain or spores. Dew. Tiny drops of water that form on cool surfaces at night. Stride. A long step when walking or running. Blossoms. The flower of a seed plant. Grind. To reduce something to powder or small fragments by friction. Tiptoes. Standing on the front part of one's foot with one's heel off the ground in order to be taller. Fashion. Make or shape something especially with hands. What does the poet wonder when she says, "If I were a giant"? The poet wonders that if she were a giant, she stand on her tiptoes and paint the sky. The poet wants to color the sky with tree branches using them as brushes. Explain the term fashion as used by the poet. What does the poet want to make? The term fashion is used by the poet, which means to make or shape something specially with hand. The poet wants to make paint brushes from the branches of trees, using them to color the sky. Why does the poet want to gather the snow? She wants to paint the clouds, the flowers, and dew by mixing colors from the desert with that of the sunrise. She dreams of her giant strides to the snowy mountains to fetch snow for painting white and to the cornfields for getting the yellow. Why does the poet wish to wake up early in the morning? The poet wishes to wake up early in the morning so that she can paint all the daisies with the pollen and the dew. Why does the poet want to blend all the colors? The poet wants to blend all the colors from the desert so that she could paint the sunrise. What does the poet want to do with the tree brush? The poet says that if she were a giant, she would get the tree brush in the yellow color and paint the golden beaches by waving her hand. Which word does the poet use to describe the walk of a giant? The poet uses the word stride to describe the walk of the giant. The word stride means walking with long steps like a giant. What does the poet want to do with ink? The poet wants to paint with the ink. She wants to make the shadows and nights as black as she can with the help of the ink. What inspires the poet to dream about being a giant? The poet is inspired by the nature and the creative, wondrous things around her. The books she reads also inspire her a lot to explore her creative side by being a giant. The poet uses the word splash when she describes how she would paint a sunrise on the sky. Why do you think the poet chose this word? The poet used the word splash because she wanted to paint a sunrise on the sky by splashing her favorite and beautiful colors, as she would like to see in the sky. List the things the poet imagines she could paint. The poet imagines painting the blossoms with the snow from the mountains. The poet imagines to get up early in the morning and paint all the daisies with pollen and dew. The poet imagines that she could stand on her tiptoes and paint the sky with brushes made from tree branches. What happens in the end of the poem? In the end, when the poet comes out from her dream, she knows that it would have been morning and nature would have painted everything the way she wanted it to be. Define the rhyming scheme of the poem. Give a suitable example. The order in which the rhymes are arranged in the poem is known as rhyming scheme. For example, if I were a giant, I wonder if I could stand on the details and be in the sky. I would fashion paint brushes from the branches of the tree and paint all the clouds as they float on the breeze. Like eye, sky, tree, breeze. These are rhyming words. This is a beautiful poem written by Jackie Hosking. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.